my relatives. This is Carrie McCarthy here. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Startup Art Therapy to Rewire Your Life, where we talk about all things trauma, solutions, tips, and ideas and sharing on how we can heal ourselves and thus heal the planet. I'm really happy that we're here together today, and we are going to do a little episode about Independence Day and what that really means, because everybody's waving the American flag here in the US, and this might be a little bit enlightening for some people who don't actually live in America, in the USA. So America, we celebrate this Independence Day where we became free from British rule and signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, many decades ago. But what happened really is that it's not really a day of freedom for everybody. And as you know, I work with Native American tribes. I've lived with them. I've been married into tribe. And it's really important to understand that this other piece, that they're not free. And Independence Day symbolizes a day that white America were free from British, but the Native Americans here had just been conquered and were in the process of being conquered and murdered and being put into reservations. So for them, this is not a time of freedom. And in fact, they are still struggling to get back a lot of their land, still struggling to have a lot of the freedoms that white Americans and colonizers have enjoyed for a long time. For example, Native Americans weren't even allowed legally to vote until the 70s. For 100 years, their ceremonies were illegal. And it wasn't until the late 70s and 76, I believe, that they were able to even do their Sundance ceremonies and sweat lodges again. So they are still fighting to get land back and all the broken treaties and the good health care. So I just want to remind everybody that in the face of everybody celebrating independence, there are so many people who are not independent here. And just a little story, I have a Filipino VA, a virtual assistant, and she lives in the Philippines, and she made this incredible post with this beautiful graphic of the American flag and all of the heroes who fought for our country. And it was a really emotional and heartfelt, and she did a fabulous job, but did not understand the whole other piece to it with Native Americans. And I don't think the majority of Americans really think about that when we are celebrating this Independence Day. The worst thing that could have happened if we were still under British rule is that we'd all be speaking with English accents, and that wouldn't be so bad. And maybe our army wouldn't have guns like the people over there that are, police force that are pretty peaceful and do not carry arms. So maybe it would have even been better. Who knows? But my point is that it's not a day of freedom for everybody. On the flip side, the people who did fight for freedom, the Native Americans and white colonizers trying to free ourselves from British rule, there are consequences to war, and bless them. We want to, at least recognize all the people who have fought for freedom, all the freedom fighters, whether it's natives or white people, and all the people in the world really that are fighting currently, the Tibetans against the Chinese, and the Ukraine against Russia, and the Palestinians and Israelis. And there's a lot of things happening. So I just want to really commemorate this day of independence for all of us, because we are all one world, and we all go through, these soldiers we need to celebrate them. We need to pray for them because the consequences that happen and the impacts of trauma from war bleed down not just directly into the family structure. Not only is there, death or um, permanent injury, loss of home, relocation, there's so many things, but it also, if we talk about the epigenetics of trauma and how that's stored in the DNA and passed down through genetic markers through successive generations, and this is real, this has been actually studied. Scientific research shows that the grandchildren of Holocaust survivors actually have developed sensitivities to the same stressors and the same things that their grandparents were exposed to in prior generations that they didn't even know consciously was even happened. So, and they've done research studies on mice that show successive generations of priming and kindling in the brain from, um, you know, uh, exposure to the cherry blossom scent and associating that with pain, as the scientists actually shocked their foot every time they put cherry blossom scent into the rat cage, so, or mice cage. So my point is that war doesn't just impact one generation. It impacts and then keeps impacting through successive generations. And I want to just commemorate this day of independence for all of us and just take a couple moments out of your day today and every day and just hold all of these people, all of be that's gone before us and their spirits and all the people of the world that are going through major turmoil, and hold them in your hearts. Just close your eyes and take a deep breath and send them love, send them prayers. May they be healed. May they find peace. And may everybody find peace. I had a very interesting meeting last week with a woman who is in Israel right now, and she's in a safe zone. But I got to meet her and her husband because we're talking about getting my program connected with some of their encampments and helping the children as a prevention and early intervention with a startup art therapy program. And this woman was talking, she had the most amazing, positive attitude, and in the middle of this war zone. And, even though they're in a safe zone at any moment, it could not be safe anymore for them, right? But they are in the midst of war zones that are not safe, and their families are all over in Israel. And she was talking about one of her family members who talked about the gift of war. And even though they don't have independence, Israel, and they're being bombarded in Palestine, and all of it is just very controversial right now, and I won't get into it. But the gift of war, this woman was so grateful because she had been living very long distance away from her granddaughters. And because she had to relocate to a big city where her granddaughters happen to live, she now gets to be with her granddaughters and be with them every day. And not only that, she gets to be with her mother and her own grandmother. So there's many generations all together, and they're very happy, even though there is a time of war. This is how the war has brought them together to be strong. And I just think that's such a beautiful story. So I encourage all of us today, thinking about Independence Day, thinking about how we can be independent, how we are interdependent on each other as a society, and how we really need to be compassionate and loving and kind to each other, and commemorating all of the people, the soldiers, the warriors who fought before us, and all the people who are doing so now. And really think about what is the price of independence, and celebrating our own freedom that we have. So it is my birthday today. I am now 52 years old, and you couldn't pay me to go back to my 20s. And I am just feeling more in my body, more wiser. That's an oxymoron. I'm feeling wiser. Um, and I'm just wishing you all just a beautiful 4th of July and beyond. So with that, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and there will be more next week. Take good care. Mitakuye Oyase, heal the people, heal the planet.